Welcome to the Real Iron Game Scholar channel. I'm Joseph Perkins, the Real Iron Game Scholar. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I've recently returned to working on weights after getting out of shape during this COVID pandemic and having COVID myself. It took me since I had COVID in August of last year to the 6th of this month of January of 2022 to actually get my motivation back to work out. I've tried, and I finally got my motivation back. So I'm going to be recording my own progress on this channel. Now, as to what areas I'm going to cover when it comes to actual working out weights, that's easy. The 1890 to 1939 era, which is known as the Bronze Era of bodybuilding, but it's going to cover more than just working out to build muscle. It's also going to cover the old time strongman training methods. Now, as to what next other than I'm going to cover when it comes to weight training, I'll also cover the Silver Era, 1940 to 1960. I'll cover the bodybuilding and Olympic weight training methods they used there. Another type of weight training, this is something you don't see when you see people talking bodybuilding and weightlifting oriented stuff. You know, and it's the art of Hojo Undo. Hojo Undo being the Japanese word for supplementary training. That book covers the strength training methods of Okinawan karate. And yes, they have strength training methods. Usually when you see that stuff there, Hojo Undo talks about on the channel, well, everything I've seen so far on it is all been about by martial artists. And when I say martial arts, I'm talking people that's all their channel is about is martial arts. This channel is about strength training, building up muscle again, muscle. All right, motivating others who may have got out of shape like me during this COVID stuff to get back in shape. But I'm not limiting myself. I'm also covering the art of Hojo Undo. All right, now as far as nutrition and diet goes, I'm going to cover the nutrition and diet of the 1890s through 1950s. I'm going to also try to research and bring in nutritional information on diet that is current and I'm also going to cover supplementation from the 1890s up to now. Now, understand when I say supplementation, I'm talking legitimate nutritional supplements, not steroids, growth hormones, and other PEDs. I'm not interested in that stuff. I'm not even going to research that field because I've got no use for it. And when it comes to diet, I'm not also going to stick with, well, the healthy Western diet, meaning whole foods, stuff like that. I'm also going to talk about and when I say healthy Western diet, that knocks out processed foods. That knocks completely out processed foods. All right. And beyond that, I'm also going to talk about the Okinawan diet, not the televised, sanitized, if you will, Okinawan diet that you see on TV for weight loss. I'm talking the traditional Okinawan diet. I'm going to be doing research on that. I also have a book on, well, a couple books on Golden Era bodybuilding nutrition. We'll be covering Golden Era bodybuilding nutrition. And I have a book called The Primal Diet, which is about Paleolithic and ancestral diets. I will be covering information from it. Now, speaking of nutrition, I'm going to give you a warning. About people who are dogmatic about one approach to nutrition. Beware. I recently unfollowed Jason Blaha. I mean, I was always interested in powerlifting. I never got into powerlifting myself, but I was interested from the sport point. So when I found this dude was talking about strength training and powerlifting, I subscribed to his YouTube and his Facebook page. I've subsequently unsubscribed to both of them because he was talking about 3 supplements you need. All right. And an individual come up there on his Facebook page saying, and don't forget to tell them they should take a multivitamin and mineral supplement. His exact words back was one word: illogical. That's right, illogical. This individual replied back with, no, it's really not illogical. It's quite logical when you take into account modern farming practice. And this dude said modern farming practices and overfarming of the land. All that leads to chemical depletion. I mean, not chemical depletion, nutritional depletion of the soil when it comes to nutrients in the soil, which in turn causes the foods to be less dense nutrient wise. Jason Blaha thundered back at him. These similar. I'm gonna try to sum up the words. I can't remember exactly, so I'm summing them up. Understand that? I'm summing it up. You can get all the nutrients you need out of a whole food diet. Please stop. Please stop spreading vitamin propaganda on my page. Dude did, and when this dude had replied back, about the nutrient depletion of the soils, right? He even posted Scientific America linked to Scientific America about it. How quickly he went before this poor dude got blocked, and checked out the Scientific America article, and I've been reading ever since on it, and it's confirmed stuff. This guy's his response, along with other stuff I read, has confirmed other stuff I have read over the years, that there is soil depletion going on when it comes to farming because of over-farming and modern farming practices. So why am I telling you about this, Jason Blaha? It's simple. If they're dogmatic about one way of nutrition, and you watch the videos and listen to what they say, and they're always, the research doesn't support it. The research doesn't support it. And they're coming up with saying, oh, such and such diet isn't healthy, or this, that, and the other. And they don't want to act, basically what I'm saying is they don't want to act like they want to hear any other alternative views that might be correct. Then you've got to watch out for that type of person. Take, for instance, I believe it's the Inuit diet. Hold up, let me go get my book. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I got my book I was fixing to get. Primal Nutrition. Alright. I lost my track of what I was talking about, but I think it was something about the all-meat diet. Alright, for instance, the all-meat diet. This Jason Blaha is condemned as being unhealthy. Unhealthy, right? Anyways, all-meat diet, what we call the carnivore diet, is, the Inuit diet. I believe that's how the name is pronounced. I'm not for sure. Most people in America know them as Eskimos. No offense to anybody out there who is Inuit or Eskimo, whichever you prefer to call yourself. I mean, I'm not trying to be offensive. But anyways, this is about the experience of the Arctic explorer, something there, Stephenson. It's VILHJALMUR Stephenson. He's let me look in the back here. Trackers, it don't say. He was a Swedish Arctic explorer. All right, in the early 1900s. He went on an all-meat diet, him and his crew, and come out totally healthy. I mean, they ate when it comes to seals, they ate the seal fat, they ate the meat, they ate the internal organs, and occasionally supplemented with polar bear meat. Anyway, it talks here in the back, the all-meat diet of Arctic adventurer, however you say it, first name, Stephenson. Alright. It says right here, an experiment was carried out in the early years of the 20th century in New York City demonstrates the viability of an all-meat diet. It involves a character we've encountered previously in pages of this book, The Arctic Adventurer, Stephenson. We now return to the geographical and gastronomic adventures of this particular carnivorous early 20th century man to see what he can teach us about traditional meat. All right. Goes on to say, in his Arctic explorations, we'll just call him Vil Stephenson, and his men succeeded in living for months at a time in good health, free of scurvy, on a diet of nothing but seal and occasionally polar bear. And I researched this on Facebook. They ate the meat, they ate the fat. Well, not Facebook. I researched this on Google. I Googled everything I could find about it. They ate the fat from the seal, they ate the meat, they ate the internal organs, and like he said here, occasionally polar bear. It goes on to say, during many other extended visits to the Arctic between 1906 and 1918, Stephenson lived on nothing but fatty meat, fish, and water for an aggregate of more than 5 years. This diet is estimated to provide about 80% of its calories from fat. The prevailing view then, as now among dietitians and medical people, is that a mixed diet of animal and vegetable foods is necessary for health. Stephenson's revolutionary views and the narrative of his experience were viewed with skepticism. As he put it, many people expressed opinions accounting to you are likelier to meet 1,000 liars than one miracle. Stephenson was quite well known for his Arctic exploits. When a group of doctors asked to examine him extensively for evidence of ill effects from his years of living on an all meat and all fish diet, he agreed. This committee failed to find any of the supposed harmful effects and published its findings in the Journal of the American Medical Association in 1926 under the title The Effects of an Exclusive, Long Continued Meat Diet. An experiment was subsequently organized whereby Stephenson and a colleague from his Arctic days were to live exclusively on meat and fish for 1 year in New York City. The organization administrating the experiment was the Russell Sage Institute of Pathology. The committee in charge included physicians, professors, and administrators from Harvard, Cornell, and Johns Hopkins universities, from the American Museum of Natural History, and from several other institutions. The research work, including several weeks of full-time monitoring of the men in Bellevue Hospital at the beginning and end of the year, was done by a team of physicians headed by the medical director of the Russell Sage Institute of Pathology. During the intervening months, Stephenson and his colleague came daily to the hospital for analysis of blood and excretions, ensuring that if the men cheated on the diet, the physicians would likely detect it. The experiment was concluded in January 1929. Both men came through the year in excellent health. All tests for any detrimental changes detectable by physical laboratory examination were negative. The only problem Stephenson had was during the early days of the experiment, when physicians asked him to eat only completely lean meat, chopped fatless meat. Within 2 days, he became ill with diarrhea and a general feeling of baffling discomfort. This had also occurred in the Arctic once, when for 3 weeks he had only caribou so thin there was no acceptable fat behind the eyes or in the marrow. Caribou are normally about 5% fat. Still, he had consumed some fat, then by eating tendons and the soft ends of bones, and he assumed that was why symptoms did not occur until the end of that 3-week period. They appeared much sooner in New York because there was almost no measurable fat on the chopped fatless muscle. Noteworthy is the fact that Weston Price, Stephenson, and others had observed that native Alaskans typically preferred to eat the older, fattiest ruminants. Stephenson's symptoms disappeared within 3 days of introducing fats, the sirloin steaks, brains, and other organs, fish, and other meats constituting the diet for the year. Fish bones and rib ends were eaten for calcium. This diet was not really high in protein, but just for Stephenson's diet in the Arctic had provided some 80% of the calories from fat, so too did this diet. So, like I was saying, you have to be careful what people are saying to you on YouTube and Facebook. If they're dogmatic about one approach, look out. It's best to do your own studying, do your own research. Don't listen just because if I say use creatine, for recuperative ability, just because I say it, don't mean that's true for everybody. Do your own research too. And that being said, see you later.